Emile Collapse.
Okay, so hello everybody, I'm very pleased to be here. And so I'm here to introduce you my new documentary series, Emile Collapse. So it's a 5-minute documentary series. I'm sorry, I have notes, but I will try not to read them. So according to a growing number of people, our society is going to collapse. So this project, this program, is not about this collapse, but it's about what's come next, actually, and what kind of society we could build, and how and why this is not as depressing as it seems. And this is very important. So what is collapse? Based on a transdisciplinary approach, more and more scientists believe that we are facing not only a climate emergency, but a very deep systemic crisis. And that will lead to the collapse of our society. So I'm not speaking about the apocalypse or the end of the world, but the end of our society. Because our society is addicted to limited resources, as we all know, but when these resources are gone, or maybe not gone, but just very, very expensive, things will get ugly and eventually collapse. So now you probably think this is very, very depressing, and so let me prove you wrong. And that's why my slides are in pink. So this series is not a bummer, nor a heavy, gloomy program who wants to tell everyone that we're all gonna die. The message I want to share is actually an inspiring one. Our society is not sustainable, we all know that, so let's build another one. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be easier than build another planet. So we are all addicts, so let's detox. And I truly believe good days are ahead. And this is the purpose of Emile Collapse. So this series will be about economy, energy, transports, fishing, agriculture, all the aspects we need to rethink to build another society. And I'm going to try to show you how it works with an episode about transport. So first, who is Emile? Emile is our main character, and he's like the ultimate average Joe. So each episode will begin with him sitting in his sofa. So now he's a drawing, but he will be a real person, like in a real living room with a real film camera. And he has like basically a very ordinary life. And so a good-looking man is standing next to him, and he's like seems respectable and a little bit fancy. And this guy is our narrator, and he's going to tell us about the very ordinary life of Emile. And for example, his favorite food, what sports he likes, or the newspaper he reads. And when he's doing this, Emile does not speak, nor move, nor anything, but the background does behind him. And in each episode, one detail given by the narrator will work as a trigger. So, for example, in this episode about transport, we learn that every day Emile uses his cars to go to work, which is seems to be a detail, but will lead to the main part of our series. So the narrator, who is kind of the know-it-all guy, he will use this information to tell us everything about cars and transports. So here begins a new sequence about the history of a car until today. So through archives, like many archives, he tells us how cars became the most common mode of transportation, and also how polluting and dangerous, obviously, they are. But fortunately, how things are looking up thanks to new solutions discovered by very, very smart human beings, and like autonomous cars or electric ones. But progressively, the tones of our narrator changes. And actually, he's expressing his doubts about these bright solutions, and says some people do disagree about this. And for example, Philippe Buicks. So you are probably, maybe not you, but some of you might be wondering who is Philippe Buicks, and so does Emile, who for the first time speaks up and interrupts our narrator. So he's wondering, and then our close-up becomes a wide shot, and we discovered that Philippe Buicks is standing next to Emile, and he's taking his voice now, and he's gonna, and this is the main part of the series, obviously. He's gonna give us his vision of the future and explain to us why, to him, maybe electric cars are not the ultimate solution, and maybe there are other ways to rethink and to rebuild the way we use the transports. So this is Emile Collapse. So each episode will be exactly built the same way with 3 parts, and in every episode we'll have a different expert, and these are the one I'd love to get on board, but maybe other one could be perfect too. And for now, I am really lucky because I have a producer, which is the French French Audiovisual National, l'INA. But we are looking for partners and for broadcasters and for feedbacks, for anything actually. We will be happy to speak with you guys. Thank you very much.
That's your here. Okay, so cross fingers and let's see if you find some partners. So have you got some questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation. I think it's always hard. I have a question about the way you are structuring. I don't know the name in English, you understand. Your film. It's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's right. And you want just to give people a lot of information, but maybe are you going to give them some solutions for them to act? Because don't you think, this is a question, that if you only give information, people will know more things, of course, but maybe they won't move enough. Or your film, it's quite interesting that maybe they can go further if you are not thinking about that, or are you going to think about that already?
Actually, it's really interesting because I think this is a very central point of my project. This is not about giving concrete solutions to people. This is about like changing our mentality, thinking that changes are obviously needed and we need to change everything, but obviously we need to change the way we think, and maybe to face this future with all the not cool parts of it, maybe will help us like accept it and change that way. And I think if we are not prepared, it's gonna be ugly. If we are prepared, it's gonna be okay.
Again, a suggestion inspired by your work, which seems interesting and could be fun if it's edited in a dynamic way. And I love that you're aspiring to get great thinkers that are thinking ahead. Naomi Klein, big fan, and all that. I'd invite you to look and think multi-platform, and maybe if you get them for an episode, that will be the seed for an interview. And you can start thinking to cross that with media, news media, and use that information in several ways. I'm also thinking how you can, recoup investment with that and think of more distribution. So use your character in your series to create a line of thinking, and then develop each interference of any of these experts into something deeper. Maybe could be interesting and extended content that you could sell or share with news media.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Thank you very much.